Hey everybody, I am so excited you're here. I'm going to start winding our copyright-free music down though. Here we go. I do think it's like a badge of honor when you get nailed from the Facebook gods for playing Beyonce. It means that you've hit the big time when you have to go to copyright-free music. That's what I'm sticking to that, right? My name is Via Williams, and this is our Wednesday webinar. Thank you guys so much for joining us every single Wednesday. I'm the Director of Growth for Ben Kinney Companies, and in front of me today, I have three amazing panelists that I can't wait to get to. But first, there's more. You know, I just wanted to kind of say, like I always say at the beginning of these, what are they? What our Wednesday webinars are, they were originally designed for our brokerage agents. We have 8 brokerages here in Washington State, just amazing real estate offices from Bellingham all the way down to Olympia. And we started these when COVID hit. We started these to give our agents very tactical, real-time tips on how to get listings, how to get buyers, how to overcome objections, how to safely show properties, how to do virtual open houses. And the audience just got bigger and bigger, and it just got to a point where they started becoming so regular, and people were starting to ask us for them. So we just decided to open them up to everybody. All agents from all brokerages are always invited to these. You know, at the Ben Kinney Companies, we talk a lot about our mission statement, which is delivering the dream of home ownership to everybody. And so for us, you know, training real estate agents across brokerages in all, you know, in all cities and states and even countries delivers that dream. So for us, this really fulfills our mission statement to be able to give education and training like this everywhere, not just to our agents. So that's what these are. And really what they're designed for is to be highly tactical and specific. So what I mean by that is every Wednesday we have a super specific topic on what you guys need pretty much in real time. I on purpose don't schedule any farther than 3 or 4 weeks out because I want to be really timely. I'm constantly getting feedback from you guys, what you're struggling with, you know, what you need. And because of that, we deliver really fast, tactical webinars that can deliver to that. Today, you have spoken, and this is we actually changed our schedule around because you guys all are begging us to tell you how to get more listings. We are hearing it. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting Facebook messages. You know that little Facebook inbox that you never see where it says so-and-so wants to request you. I'm finding I'm getting more and more of those from these Wednesday webinars. I love it when you interact, if you're on our email list and we send an email out, a ton of you are starting to interact more and you're all asking us the same thing. How do we get more listings? So I wanted to bring these 3 powerhouse agents on because these guys are in the field right now getting a ton of listings. So who we have with us today. Oh, and by the way, sorry, but I digress. And then I'll come right back to who we have today. Next week, we have Cynthia Freud on. If you or anyone you know, this is a really good webinar next week. Have you sold new construction? Have you been a site agent? Have you worked for a builder or developer? Do you now? And are you thinking you want to develop that business into a resale business? I get that question a lot. Cynthia Freud in Minneapolis did that. She sold out a bunch of condo buildings for builders and developers in downtown Minneapolis, and then came to Keller Williams and turned that into an incredible big business. It's essentially a farming business, right? So I'm going to pick her brain. She does a whole bunch of things you can implement right away. She does Saturday emails. I get them and they're really great. And she just does she puts dog food out. She has an office in her little area of Minneapolis, and there's always dog treats and a dog bowl out. And she's kind of known for that. So there's little things that you can do, you know, to copy her. The week after that, Jeanette Spinelli is going to come on, and Jeanette and I will probably both be our own guests because we're going to talk about how we both got into luxury. What did that exact step-by-step journey look like? And Jeanette's got a lot of really cool programs that a lot of people ask her to teach, and she's going to come teach them to us. That's going to be the next 2 are going to be really, really, really good. Okay, I digressed. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are today with three amazing panelists. So in front of us, we have the beautiful Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline's from Vancouver, Washington. So get this, her team has taken 128 listings so far this year. I mean, amazing. We've got one of my favorite people, Greigg. Ryan leads the place team in Bellingham, Washington, and he's taken 145 listings so far this year with his team. Incredible. And Travis Bard, one of my other favorite people who I really miss seeing in person. We used to spend a lot of time together in person, Travis, and we just don't anymore. I know, darn COVID. Is it Prescott? Is that where you're from?
Yes.
Prescott. So he's from Prescott, Arizona, and you guys have done you've closed 77 listings so far year to date. I'm guessing you've taken more. You've closed already 77. Yeah. All right. So you know who you're listening to, are super credible, are in the field, and are going to give you highly, highly tactical things. Get your notepad out. If you're driving, no problem. You can always find replays. We have replays in a couple of places. We're on the we're on the shift ahead, whatever that group is on Facebook. Our replays are always on the Ben Kinney Leadership Mentoring Group Facebook group, and they're always on YouTube. So don't worry, if you're driving, just absorb the information and maybe listen a second time to take notes. That was a big introduction, you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I'm taking notes too. So if I'm looking down, I'm taking notes.
I did an interview yesterday for our network, for our brokerages network. I interviewed Chris Suarez, and I was literally taking so many notes on my own interview. I'm interviewing him that a couple of times I go, oh, sorry. Okay, next question. Because I was taking notes and I thought, Via, just interview him and watch the replay and take your notes. So no, I love that you're taking notes. That's great. Okay, here's who everybody wants to start with. Like, this is who I want to start with, you guys. And the first question is who are you getting listings from right now? I would love to know. I don't know if it's easier to ask you what your top 3 sources are right now. Don't get caught up in that 3 number, but who are your top few sources right now? Let's start with that. Then I'd like to move into what you're saying and doing and kind of drill down on that. And then I'd like to kind of go into objections, right? And then kind of end with listing presentation tips. So that's kind of the arc of how I wanted this to go. So let's start with the who. Jacqueline Smith, who are your guys' top couple sources right now? Right now, like last 30, 60 days.
Yeah, right now it is for sure past clients and referrals, expireds, and FSBOs.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ryan, what about you guys?
Same, past clients and referrals, and we've shifted real heavily again back onto canceled expireds.
Oh, interesting. They're coming back. Over FSBOs. You guys are seeing canceled and expireds over FSBOs.
We're having more results with canceled expireds. We're still trying the FSBOs, and I think that's going to shift. But we're having more results with taking the listings and getting them sold. Okay.
Yeah, interesting. Travis, what about you guys in Arizona?
Yeah, for us, it's Sphere, past clients and referrals. And then on top of that, we kind of back that up with quite a bit of radio and TV advertising that it just helps us build front of mind awareness and brand awareness in the area. So it just reinforces all of the others.
Okay, so we're gonna come back to that, Travis. I'm gonna be interested to talk a little bit about the messaging you're using and the calls to action and what's working. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Okay, so how are you guys reaching them right now? Is this all lead generation prospecting? Travis mentioned marketing. Are you guys doing any other marketing on top of just picking up the phone and calling?
Well, in Vancouver here, we haven't been able to do any open houses since March, right? We haven't been able to do any networking events, client events. Not even can we, hang out with the other parents at our kids' soccer games or school events. And so we've lost some of that ability for those organic connections that we normally would have had. So we've had to get really purposeful about the reach outs, basically on the phone with our Sphere, with our past clients. So we've been really drilling down on just get really good at being in relationship with your database, which I thought we were good at before COVID hit, and we've really nailed that, I think, throughout the last few months, because it's been the only thing that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything else got taken away. We can't door knock, do opens or anything else. So my motto has been, we can't do everything, but we can always do something. And so that's what we've been really focusing on, is getting good with our database.
What does it mean for you guys to get good with your database right now? Or what does that look like?
So using some automation, but also reaching out on a more consistent basis than I think that we had in the past, when we kind of had all these other levers that we could use to get business. This is all we have. So just making sure that when COVID first hit, and I've been on lots of your webinars, I know a lot of top agents did this, we just really went hard on, let's connect with our people. Let's be there for our people, almost like crisis mode, right? And then it was, now I think a lot of people, especially in our area, they're thinking about moving. They're considering, do we want to be here? Or is this the right house for us, right? And so a lot more people, I think, than usual, it seems, are actually thinking about real estate, and they have questions, so many questions. And so being positioned to be that resource for them has been our primary goal.
So basically you're kind of doing a lot of reach outs, and the scripts and the approach is, we know you have questions right now. We'd like to talk to you. We have answers. Talk to us, use us as a sounding board. Let us be your consultants. Let us refer people to you. Basically it sounds like you're just doing whatever it takes to get that dialogue going. Is that fair?
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned some automation. Is that the same messaging in your, email campaigns and things that you're doing?
Absolutely. Market reports, we use those and send those out regularly, and then emails, and then a lot of social media too. So I have a lot of my clients, almost all of them, are on my social media page. So I'm constantly just making sure that they're getting data, that they're seeing our stories and seeing that we're selling houses. And all of my agents were getting, inbox requests, like you are, from agents, right? From other past clients, Sphere and whatnot, asking us questions because they see us doing real estate, right? Mm-hmm. When a lot of people haven't been focusing on that. So.
Oh, I love that. Well, we'll get into those dialogues in a bit. I just kind of want to move over to Travis and kind of see what you would add, Travis. What are you doing right now? Because you also mentioned that your number one is your database, repeat, past clients and all that. How are you reaching them right now?
It's old school. I mean, it's picking up the phone, it's calling them, sending. We've got different campaigns that we've been running, whether they've been email based or otherwise. This year we do a barbecue, a client appreciation barbecue every fall, and we can't do that this year. So we shifted, and instead we're doing a pie giveaway. So we're calling all our people, and we're going to have them come to us to pick up a pie. And that gave us an opportunity to reach out to, we had a call night last night, and we had about 600 people on the list that we were reaching out to. So it's just being intentional about doing something just to be proactive and reaching out to those people. And we've upped the game on our social media side of things so that we're doing a better job of sharing information in social media so that people see that there's a lot going on in our world right now. Because a lot of people, oddly enough, have the perspective, at least in our little bubble that we live in here, that maybe we're being affected by what's happening in the rest of the world and COVID and that. And it's odd because I made the comment to somebody, I think it was to you the other day, that we're doing life kind of normal with a disclaimer. Mm-hmm. Our things are kind of normal in the area we live in. We go 90 miles south to Phoenix. It's a little bit more confined and a little bit more refined than it is here. So we're just trying to spread the message. And it's got to be belly to belly, phone to phone, face to face, whatever we can do reasonably to let them know that there's activity in the market and we're front and center with that activity.
Yeah. Normal with a disclaimer. I totally stole that. I mean, it's just that's a really great description for those people who are in counties and states that are not quite, I don't know what normal is, but that are a little bit more back. It's still different. Who knew we'd be walking around with masks on? Does it hit you guys every once in a while when you're walking around? Like you get used to it, and then one day you look up and go, "Where am I? Is this what is this Twilight Zone?"
What are we going to wear for Halloween this year? Everybody's got
I
a
know.
mask on already. So what's that
Literally, remember how schools used to say you can't wear masks? Like now they're please wear a mask on Halloween. Ryan, how are you reaching the people? You also mentioned that it's database, repeat, and referral. How are you reaching them right now?
Absolutely. Same as Travis and Jacqueline via, we're picking up the phone. We're picking up the phone, and we never stopped picking up the phone from day one of the shelter in place. We all went home. And by the way, I love what Chris said yesterday about pivoting. When pivoting was being talked about so much, and the word that stuck in my mind was, no, I'm planting. I'm planting in what I've done and what I've always done. So I planted, and I encouraged our agents to plant and keep calling like we always have. And keep calling like we always have, and keep calling. And we couldn't do open houses either, which was a big source for my personal team, but our team in general couldn't do open houses. We did virtual open houses, but picking up the phone and calling. And just like Jacqueline and like a lot of the other top agents around the world were doing, it started with the wellness checks. It started to make sure everybody was just doing okay. It started with just having conversations with people because people were locked in their homes and weren't talking to anybody. And we were looking for a reason to just give somebody some good news that maybe the home down the street sold, and it sold for quite a bit more than anybody thought it would. And we're just checking in with them to make sure they were aware of the values of the neighborhood. Another thing that we were really doing was sifting through motivation levels. So right from the start, it was so many people just saying, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. And we just said, you know what, that's okay. Neither do we. And we kept calling until we found somebody that said, we need to do something, and we need to do something soon. And everything else stopped, and that's what we jumped on and prioritized. So sifting through motivation levels was something that was really important for us in the beginning. And then just planting with what we were good at was picking up the phone and calling through our database. And I've been on the team about 5 years, so I'm lucky that a lot of people that bought with me 5 years ago are now ready to do something else. So I was just calling all of them, touching base with them.
So I love that. And you know what my aha is, just listening to all three of you guys just now. And I think this is worthy of taking notes for any of our viewers who are in a position to do that. All three of you guys are doing something that I think is brilliant. And that is you are reaching out with whatever it takes, whatever call to action, whatever reason it takes to get into a conversation. And it's in that conversation that you're now focused on converting, sifting for motivation, as Ryan says, and then converting to the appointment, right? And it just reminds me, it's such a perfect lead funnel, because what I say all the time, like our agents are tired of me saying this, every real estate conversation should lead to the ultimate goal, setting an appointment. But what you guys are showing me, and I think all of us, is that you have this wide world out there, and then you've got this, world that and then you've got this world that might be interested in buying or selling. And what you're doing is you're like, I want to just have as many conversations as possible. And my goal is for that conversation to lead to the appointment. What you're not trying to do is sell them before you even talk to them, that they need to buy or sell real estate. You're like, let me give you referrals. Let me talk to you about this. Let me talk to you about that. You're doing whatever it takes to just have that voice to voice or text to text combo. Love that.
And one of the reasons, Via, is because that we all know that, our clients or people that have real estate related plans, they don't really need us until they really need us. Mm-hmm. And then if we're not there and we're not there quickly, they're going somewhere else. So we just found that we had to stay top of mind with everybody because things were changing so rapidly. I mean, gosh, look at what's happened this year in so many places. People's lives were so massively impacted that they would change, and they would change very fast. And when they needed a real estate question or need, they needed it really quickly. And if we hadn't touched base with them recently, they were going to Zillow and getting it from somebody else.
So agents, all of our agents watching and listening to this, this is what I would like you to take away from this. Take the pressure off yourself. When you think lead gen, you think automatically, I've got to call with this really tight script, and I've got to call canceled and expireds and cold call. All you need to do is pick up the phone and talk to people. That's like the first domino. Then you need to start working on how to convert those conversations into appointments.
I want to go back to something that Ryan said. You mentioned it earlier too. It's the pivot. And I think one of the things that we get in a mindset when our world changes, that we have to pivot. The pivot that I see to his example was an open house going from an in-person open house to a virtual open house. That's a pivot. But staying on the phone and picking up the phone and planting those seeds, that's not a pivot. That's doubling down on the efforts that we know we need to be doing in the first place. I think too many people have sat back trying to think and strategize that that they have to pivot. So they've been looking for what to pivot about when all they need to do is pick up the phone.
Yeah, it's really interesting you should say pivot, because I interviewed Chris Suarez yesterday, and he gave us all like this mind-blowing aha, because his contention is whenever people say pivot right now, it's kind of turning into their excuse to quit whatever they're doing. And he was like, remember, pivot in basketball is one foot is on the ground. You know, your foundational foot's on the ground. All you're doing is slightly shifting the other foot, right? So pivot should really mean you have a foundational business and you're doing the same things. You're slightly pivoting a script. You're slightly changing something. Pivot should not mean you're completely scrapping what you're doing, which, you know, I think a lot of people in response to COVID and just the world changing are freaking out a little bit. I think they're over pivoting. So anyway, I love that. I do want to kind of go into a topic, because you guys are all place and work, you know, with Ben Kinney. Let's talk about home valuation leads, because I do get a lot of questions about home valuation leads, and you guys are the experts at those, right? So first of all, do they work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All leads work if you work them, Via.
Well, I knew the answer to that, but I have to ask the question. So Ryan, what's your favorite script for home valuation leads? Let's role play. I fill out, I put in my address, and I ask for, you know, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about it. I'm more curious than anything, right? Might be motivated if I find a house I like. So let's role play a little bit.
Hey, good afternoon. Is this Via?
Yeah, it is.
Via, hey, good afternoon. This is Ryan Greigg with the Ben Kinney real estate team. And hey, I was just giving you a quick call. It looks like you had lopped onto one of our websites in order to get a value of your home here on Main Street in Bellingham. And a lot of times when people are calling to get a value of their home, they're either thinking about getting a refinance on their home, or they were looking to get a value of their home because they're thinking about selling. I'm curious, Via, which one were you?
I don't know that I'm either. I just, that's so funny that you're calling me. I didn't know anyone was going to call me. Oh my goodness. I just, I guess I was curious about value because it would be nice to upgrade. I've seen all the ads that interest rates are low. I got online, looked at a mortgage calculator, and I don't know, it might be kind of cool to move, but I don't know that I'm ready to move.
I totally get it, Via. You know, a lot of people start just by going onto a website and clicking on to see what their home is worth, or maybe going onto one of our websites just to start looking at some homes. It sounds like you might have started looking at some homes, and if the right home were to pop up, you might consider going to take a look. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if we're even ready for that. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
No, I get it. Yeah, you know, oftentimes people just are getting started on the website, and before they even do that, they have to know what their home could sell for so that they know what price they'd be looking in. I would love to swing by sometime, Via, and give you an accurate idea of what your home would sell for. It looks like it's only about 5 minutes from my office, actually. I could pop by this afternoon. Would 3 o'clock work okay for me to swing by and just give you a quick value of what we think it could sell?
Wow. I really don't want to waste your time. I just don't think that I'm that close to being ready.
Oh, I totally get it, Via. Yeah, and, you know, it actually wouldn't be a waste of time at all. I really love what I do, and I love seeing homes that are not far from my office, especially when somebody might be thinking about selling, because we love playing matchmaker. And what we're doing is we go see a lot of homes, in fact, 2 to 3 homes every single day that people might be thinking about selling sometime down the road. And the cool thing is we can then add you to what's called our would sell list. And we're often able to match make people and put them into homes that haven't even hit the market. If you could sell your home easily and find the next home easily, would it be worth me stopping by for 15, 20 minutes just to give an idea of what it could sell for?
I mean, I just feel, yeah, it would be kind of interesting, but I really feel bad. I know you're probably really busy, and I just don't know if I'm even close to being ready to sell my home. So I kind of feel bad about that.
Via, I understand that you think I am busy, and we are busy, but luckily we're never too busy to help somebody that has real estate related plans and needs. And like I said, your home looks like it's only about 5 minutes from my office. I've got an appointment later in the afternoon, so it really wouldn't take much time out of my day at all to swing by your home and take a quick tour. And like I said, 15, 20 minutes at the house, and then we can give you an accurate idea of what we feel it could sell for in today's market. And then we can give you some options. You know, maybe selling it would be the best option. I don't know if you've ever considered holding on to it and turning it into an investment property and taking that route and owning investment properties, but at least we could give you some options. And I'd love to go over those with you. So it sounds like 3 would work best, or would 5 work better, Via?
All right, I'll tell you what, Ryan, that sounds fine. Let's do it next week.
Next week? Yeah, absolutely. Which day would work best for you next week, Via?
Oh, I love that tie down. I love you did that. I was hoping you'd do that. And we didn't even talk about this ahead of time. I was like, ooh, see if he's going to let me push him out.
What I would do is I would agree with you and say, great, next week. But then I would try to continue to build more value to get over to see you today.
So, okay, first of all, everybody listening and watching wants you to cold call them because you have you're so good and you're so amazing. Like, I just wanted to stay on the phone with you. You are so, so good. By the way, someone asked me, I should not have assumed everyone knows what a home valuation lead is, and I apologize. A home valuation lead is, the easiest way to describe it is Zillow. It's when you have a search bar on a website, and you type in your address, and you click, check my home's value. And we can buy home valuation leads as real estate agents. Everyone here, we happen to all use the same program. It's called Brivity. You can buy them through many sources, and they come in, and then we respond back. I've made a ton of appointments. I actually love those leads. I found, Ryan, I don't know about you guys, but I found that they're often really far down in the funnel, but ultimately they convert over time. What have you guys found with those?
That's what we find. And I have one little tweak that we have used here. Instead of talking about, hey, are you interested in selling? Because like you said, you're not even ready for that. It's just they're either thinking of refinancing, or they're just slightly curious of what it would look like to make a move. And then go into why you might even want to move. Like, is the house too small? You're homeschooling the kids? Like, do you need a different floor plan? And then take it from there. But they are often further out. So you win on those, I think, at the follow-up game.
Yeah. I love that, Jacqueline. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn asked if we could finish the role play. Glenn, we did finish the role play. And Brian went on to explain that what he would do is continue to try to close me for a direct time next week. And then he might even call me back and say, hey, and try to get it sooner. Jacqueline, I love that. So if we were doing role play and we were doing scripts, maybe what that would sound like would be something like, instead of, there's a couple of reasons, and we also find that people are just kind of curious what it would look like. That, are you saying you would add it kind of around that point?
It's what it might look like if they were to make a move, right?
Yeah, that's great. Travis, and is that similar to your approach? What do you guys do for home valuation?
It is. The script is very similar. And it's just a matter of, it's that little icebreaker part, and the script I use is, I see that you were on our website and had questions about your home value.
Oh, I like
with that. So I've tweaked it a little bit and massaged it a little bit.
I like that, Travis.
You have questions about your home value.
I like that.
Then there's the other we can go into, many times we find that people are either interested in selling or they're looking to refi. Which are you?
Mm-hmm. And I really like Jacqueline's, having done home valuation leads on and off over the years. I really want to stress, I love Jacqueline's addition because it's fairly safe to say from a typecasting standpoint, they're probably far off. I mean, if you do enough prospecting, you will always get now business. But I mean, for the most part, do you guys find they're a little bit farther down the funnel?
Absolutely.
Ryan and Travis?
Yeah, absolutely. They're longer term, but that's okay. I mean, we're always looking to fill up that funnel and keep at it. I love the way both Travis and Jacqueline did that. I'm always looking for ways to turn appointments less from like a dentist sounding, like you registered on my website and let's set an appointment, into a soft close. Like, I'll be in your neighborhood and why don't I just pop by? Travis said, looks like you had some questions in regards, like that's very soft, and I like that. It's not a direct registration, telemarketer call. I really like that.
Well, yeah, and we should...
that I keep...
Go ahead, Travis.
One of the things I kept running into is people would say, well, I didn't register. So, I see that you were on our website and had questions. And then it's a little bit of a transition because they're like, well, I didn't register for anything. And then the next thing is somebody goes on with that. Well, I didn't register. I say, well, somebody registered looking at your home value. So there's a market for it right now. Let's talk about that.
Oh, I love that too, because that's happened to me. That's really good.
Somebody wants to know your home value. That means there could be a buyer out there.
And, half the time it's their 18-year-old kid, but who cares? They don't know that. So, after we bring them in, on the funnel, because again, our goal is to get the appointment, no matter what that appointment looks like, our goal is to get the appointment. Basically, what do you guys do from there? Do you tag them? You just pre-qual them and whatever your tag system is. Like we use an A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, E3, C1, C2, E3, but whatever your tag system is, do you guys just tag them and continue to follow up with them? Do you have auto plans for them on your CRMs? How do you guys kind of push them down the funnel?
For us, the most important thing we can do, I want to get a CMA in front of them, and I want to get them on a bi-weekly market report drip so that they're seeing something from us every 2 weeks. And then we use the action plans, the auto plans that are set up in our Brevity system with the different tags of nurture, watch, qualify, etc.
And you just use those standard stock plans?
We do.
Oh, that's great. Ryan and Jacqueline, anything to add or subtract to that?
That's our approach here too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've just taken what I was trained to do and apply it because it seems to work really well. And I guess one little thing that I have added recently that helped some of the agents was when you're categorizing your leads, sometimes I wish there was an in-between, and this is specifically in regards to Brevity, I wish there was an in-between nurture and hot, because so many people get put into nurture that maybe they get lost. So I always suggest, if you aren't sure, is this person a nurture or a hot, make them a hot. Because then at least you won't forget them as easily as maybe a couple hundred nurtures. And it can't hurt if you didn't get all the information, but they said, I'm thinking about selling. If somebody says, I'm thinking about selling, that's a hot lead to me. Mark them as hot, and then set your tasks to auto call to follow up every day. Value.
Maybe we'll do a webinar on best tips, like CRM best tips when we're closer to the holidays, when the market's not so crazy. Because I've had a pipeline management tool that I've used with my whole team for maybe 6 years. And we do A123, B123, C123. So we have A, Bs, and Cs. A's are now, Bs are 30 to 90-ish days. Look, this is what a B is. A B is they're in a lease that's ending and the end date, or they're relocating, or there's some kind of an end date. They're waiting for school to end. It may not be exactly 90 days, but there's that they're going to be coming down the pike. And then a C is everyone else. And we have certain rules, right? So a 1, 2, 3 is their relationship to you. A 1 is they've signed a buyer rep agreement. They've signed a listing agreement. They are for sure working with you. A 2 is you're pretty sure they're going to work with you for whatever reason you don't have an agreement signed. And then a 3 is hope is your strategy, right? So the numbers are their relationship, and are they moving towards you? And then the ABC is their timing. So the best example I can give is a Zillow lead is an A3 oftentimes, because they're ready to buy, may not be with you. Right. So, I agree, Ryan, that if, a little bit of discipline with your pipeline management can make a huge difference in how you follow up on your results. And we tell everybody C's automated. All C's are automated. A's and B's start getting more manual though. That's where you're spending your time. And of course, with your C's, you're going to pop in some manuals, but that's its own webinar. It's a great topic, isn't it? Yeah, really appreciate you guys jumping in there on home valuation leads. Thank you. All right, so we talked about who. So we talked about database, repeat and referral business. We talked about home valuation leads. What we haven't talked about yet, and frankly, what I'm surprised about, is that you guys are seeing a lot of canceled and expireds, because I haven't seen any in this hot market. I would have thought this would have been a more FSBO market. So talk to me, especially Jacqueline and Ryan, you guys both mentioned, and you're finding enough canceled and expireds to get business.
Want to go, Ryan?
Sure. The majority of the canceled expireds that I'm focusing on right now were not canceled expireds from recently. I've gone back to the last 5 years and I've dug deeply into those. And actually that really stemmed for looking for off-market properties for buyers. So when we have very limited listings, we have to find inventory. And so what we do with, we've got over 20 agents on our team, and we have every one of those have buyers that don't have homes. So what we're teaching them is, hey, let's go through 5 years of canceled expireds and try to find them. When we get that seller on the phone, we're genuinely calling because we have a buyer, right? Which is a great script. But then we also are calling because if it's not a good fit for them, we're telling them about what's going on in the market and what homes are selling for. And it's been effective. It's been working. And so just adding that piece, going back really far and keeping a strict record of those and following up with them regularly. Again, I mean, this all comes down to follow-up, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's another good example of how all of you guys are talking about using high tech, using your tech to be high touch. Just as a reminder to everybody, your CRM and your tech doesn't have to be automated. It can be automated to remind you to be manual. I always remind our team leaders of that. I'm like, half of tech isn't just spitting the stuff out. It's just giving you that prompt every day when you log on to see what your to-dos are and who you should be calling and texting. Jacqueline, what would you add to canceleds and expireds?
I think, and this goes for, I think, any like valuation, FSBO, I think a lot of people, they try, right? They'll try FSBOs or they'll try to make some cancel expired calls or valuation calls. And where the success comes from is the compound effect of us building a pipeline of valuation leads, building a pipeline of FSBO, building a pipeline of expireds, right? So like Ryan, we're closing expireds that we had talked to last year or called that expired last year or the year before or earlier this year, right? And we've built this pipeline by consistently calling them, getting them into our CRM, being in relationship with them, and then when they're ready to pop, we're their choice, right? I always tell my agents, if every lead is a bucket, right? A lot of agents will wait until that lead is ready to go. Whereas what we want to do is we want to constantly fill that bucket so that when they're ready, we're the ones that have filled that bucket. We're the ones that have been adding value the whole way through the journey to when they are ready. And I think that's where people miss is they're looking for that low-hanging fruit. And sure, you get lucky, you call that expire and they're ready today. FSBO, same thing. And the more you call them, the luckier you get. But the real magic is in the pipeline that you build from that lead source, whatever it is, right?
Jacqueline, would you agree that those leads also get easier and easier as time goes by? For example, the first couple times you call a cancel expired, they don't give you the time of day, they don't talk to you very much. But as time goes by, those are the leads that then call you via and they say, Ryan, you've called me for a year now. I'm ready to list. We haven't even met. Just list my property. A few of the properties that we have listed right now, I've never even met the seller. Yeah. It's just that we've called them hundreds of times.
And then if you throw some video in there, they really feel like they've met you.
Yeah, true. Good point.
Yeah, I had an expired that I spoke with in the fall, and they, we kept in touch all the way through the spring. They were actually down in Arizona. And he goes, when I went to meet with them, he says, oh my gosh, you were one of 30 people calling me, right? And you're literally the only one left calling me. And so that's that pipeline again and that follow-up.
I love that. Marjorie was asking where you guys get all your phone numbers.
Well, for FSBOs, you can get them on our lovely Zillow.
Yeah.
And expireds, we subscribe to expired data. So we have someone that does that for us. And then, but yeah, FSBOs, we're just going on Zillow. Yeah.
Travis, what about you and Ryan?
We use Been Verified.
Okay. Been Verified. That's a good one.
Yeah, we have a couple tech sources as well here in Washington. A lot of phone numbers are still on the MLS. And if they weren't on that listing, maybe they were on the previous listing. And our database is so massive here that a lot of people's numbers are already in our database. So I'm able to find them pretty commonly just in our own database, which is tough to see going, oh, this person was in our database and they listed, but then we can get them back.
Yeah. Yeah, I recommend Coal Directory. We've used that one. Been Verified. We've used that one. We've used White Pages. Hattie might pop on here. I can't remember what else they all use, but there's a whole bunch of online sources where you can look up numbers.
Yeah, I have a
Mhm.
question, if I could, for you, for all of you. Do you see the tight market that we're in right now continuing through winter?
You know what I'd love to talk about that. Would it be okay if we kind of keep drilling down on listings? Would it be okay if we ended with that?
Absolutely.
Would that be
'Cause
okay?
I've got a point that I wanted to make on that, so I'll save it for later.
Let's get through, because I really want to kind of keep rolling down this. We talked about the who, now we're getting into the what and the objections, because I think that's a great point to end on, Travis, because nobody has a crystal ball.
I just want to add one thing to the question about the data. Now, yeah, I have someone that sends us data and you can subscribe to things. But the thing is that as a brand new agent, when I first started, solo agent, had no money, right, to spend on marketing and resources like we have now, I was doing everything that I could free. And my first listing ever was from a FSBO, and my second listing ever was an expired. And I had that listing in my first 60 days, and it was just from going on Zillow, going on Craigslist. So you can get fancy, right? But for anyone listening that doesn't have access to that, that doesn't mean that you can't use these levers. You can find phone numbers, right? And if you just start calling them, you will get better at it and you will get results. So don't overcomplicate it, I guess is my point, because you can do it with no resources, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It doesn't have to be this big scaled thing either. It's just, yeah, it's easy to find one or two phone numbers, right? And it's, by the way, it's really easy is to go by their house and to drop something by, even with COVID, to put something on their doorstep. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can physically distance, still approach a physical house and leave stuff for them. So
Yeah,
that's
can I
something
add
to
something
consider.
to
Yeah, of
stop by
course.
this real quick? Just going back to past clients, because we didn't talk about it, but popping by
Mm-hmm.
is incredibly powerful. It's something that we do twice a year for past clients, and I'll spend $200 to $300. And I'm kind of I have green thumbs, like I like to garden, right? So I'm always trying to tie in, how can I do something in business that I already love to do, or that is going to also be tied in with my son who's 8. So I like to garden, I like to plant. So over the last 5 years, twice a year, we'll go out, Ryan and I, my business partner, and we'll take plants out. We did sunflowers this year, we did poinsettias last year and tulips last year, and we'll go out with maybe 100 tulips and drive all up and down the county for a whole day. And we just knock on our past clients' doors. They don't know that we're coming. So these tulips cost me maybe $5, right? And we just drop them by their house. And we do it on a nice day, so most of the time neighbors see. And the neighbors are like, what's going on over there? Why are they dropping plants by their house? And we just wave and say, hey, maybe we start talking with them. But these have become incredibly effective for us. We did this last year with tulips. We spent $250. We took it to a past client. We listed their house for $700,000. They bought a house for $500,000. They just relocated because of COVID and sold that house for $500,000, and now their son needs to buy a condo for $400,000. That came from a $5 tulip.
It's amazing.
So these pop buys, I'm also looking for excuses to bring smiles into people's lives right now. If you don't have any phone numbers, spend $20 on some cool things, some fun stuff, whatever it may be. Maybe you're not a plant nerd like me. Halloween's coming up. Drop by some candy and wear gloves and some tongs so it's all safe and sanitized. We don't have to we can't, go take people joy and happiness get in our way of still connecting with people via face-to-face.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that we talked about that.
We just did a really cool touch that I'll mention too. We sent an email out and reached out to our past clients, because a lot of our people in our area, they're homeschooling their kids. And so they're having to juggle homeschooling and work and everything else. And so we just had these cute little coffee baskets, and we had them let us know if you're a homeschooling parent, so we can cheer you on. And we sent them a gift So super inexpensive, like Ryan said, but really like thoughtful. And I mean, it wasn't our whole database, so it was a nice touch. It was sent to our entire database, but only a few select people got it. And if you use your social media too, to just pay attention to what your people are doing. One of my past clients built a fire pit during COVID when we were on lockdown. And so I sent them a s'mores kit, right? So you can do little I call them power touches. If you just watch your people and keep in touch with them and watch what they're doing and do little thoughtful touches like that, it really goes a long way.
I love both of those. Travis, I feel like you guys have a really strong database business. What are you guys doing? You know, what are you saying? What are the conversations, pop-bys, anything really looking like right now with your database, with your past clients, with your, you know, clients that refer you? What does that look like?
It's just that it's a conversation. So as we're preparing for our pie giveaway, and we don't do a Thanksgiving pie, we're doing it in lieu of our Harvest Barbecue this year. So for us, it's just about reconnecting. You know, it's the care calls that we've been leaning on and doing since March now, but it's just a conversation, and with no particular agenda other than to have a conversation and to ask them what flavor of pie they want.
What are you doing other pop buys besides the pies?
At this point, no, that's what we've done.
Okay, got it. Anything to add to what Jacqueline and Ryan said? Anything to add about how they're following up and what they're doing with these long-term clients that we're talking about? Database, home valuation leads. Are you guys doing anything different than these guys talked about?
Very similar. It's the fundamentals. And that's what I talk about ad nauseum to our team is we need to be doing the fundamentals because that's what works. And when we do it from our heart, that's what makes the difference.
Love that.
Yeah. And I think what's amazing about you, Travis, is you've brought in like 1.5 listings a week personally so far this year. If you look at the pacing of the number you brought in, one and something, you brought in more than one listing a week personally. You brought in over 50 listings, I believe, right? Are all of those past clients, are they, you know, I mean, I know I asked your lead sources, but you've got magic in there that, I mean, what are you doing?
Well, there's no magic. It's time and market. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years, so that doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. But we try to do a really good job. When we close deals, we're doing a better job, and we're growing every day in what we do. And I think one of the biggest things is there's no days off in our world. It doesn't mean that literally we don't take a day off, but we focus on our business year round. And one of the things when I asked earlier about, do you think that this market's going to change? Regardless of whether it does or whether it doesn't, the agents in our markets are going to start taking days off in about a month. Mm-hmm. The holidays, every year you're going to see it. Mm-hmm. So for the people who are on this call are wondering what can they do to build their business, is focus like there is no change in the calendar. Do what you're doing today on the 20th of December. Do what you're doing today on the 28th of December and on the 3rd of January. And that'll make a difference in your business.
Yeah, consistency, right? Consistency, time on task on time.
People think that the rollover of a calendar is some magical change. There is no magical change there. It's just a paper in your office or an app on your phone that tells you something's different.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So Travis, what are the objections you're hearing right now when you go on your listing appointments, right? And they're unsure. What are the biggest, maybe top couple objections that you've been hearing the last 30, 60 days?
Probably challenge number one is we want to sell, but we don't know exactly where we're going to go. It's that downstream move. They know they're going in-state, in town, in-state, out of state, but they don't have the specific property picked yet. So they're wondering, what can we do in our process to make that transition a little bit better. That's one. And then right now it's just pricing. Where is the market going? What's it doing? So those are probably the two biggest questions. The objections, when they're ready to go right now, what I'm seeing is a lot of people with a lot of certainty. They're ready once they understand what the process can look like and how we can help them manage the chaos.
Are you up for a role play?
Sure.
So you met with me. You're my guy. I'm going to hire you. I just, I don't know, Travis, my kids are at school homeschooling. I don't exactly know where we want to move, but I know I really want to move. And I also understand I have to sell my house in order to make that move. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should list now or wait.
I understand. And that's the biggest question that we have to help you answer. But whether you sell now or whether you wait, what's going to change between now and 30 days from now if you chose to wait?
Well, maybe we'll identify a house.
Okay. So if we could help you identify that house or help you find a strategy that would get you into that next house, is that what you're looking for in the relationship that we're developing here?
Ooh, that's good. I like that a lot. Yes, it is.
Okay. So what you're telling me is that you don't want somebody you don't want to hire somebody just to sell your house. You want somebody to help manage the chaos that comes from us selling your house.
Yeah, I really do. I want you to manage the whole process. I want you to tell me what I have to do, and I can work on that now. And then maybe simultaneously we can go find a house, or at least make me feel more comfortable that I can find a house. And then, I guess list would be the next step.
Okay. Well, one thing that I can promise you is if we go through this process, we're going to create chaos in your life. That's just what moving does. But the next thing that follows that up is the team that we can bring to the table to help you. We've got somebody to help you stage, to help you understand what that looks like. I'm not the best buyer agent on my team, so I'm going to hook you up with the best buyer agent on my team to help you find that house. And we've got the people that can fill in the gaps in between.
That's great.
Can we sit down and make this happen?
Yeah, let's make it happen. As long as we can sit down and figure out a plan, let's make it happen.
Perfect.
Travis,
Greigg.
Hold on. I just want to make sure I wrote that down right. You don't just want somebody to sell your home. You want somebody to help you manage the chaos.
Yes, sir.
That was money.
So Ryan Greigg, same objection. We're going to go role play again. And I'm going to tweak it. Sherry English brought up a really good point. I'm going to tweak it. Ryan, I do want to sell. I'm super motivated right now. With that said, I've got kids at home homeschooling. I've got a little bit of a to-do list, a prep list. And on top of it, I'm not only worried about identifying a house to purchase, Ryan, I'm worried about being able to compete in multiple offers. I do have to sell my house first. And it's just like the chicken or the egg. I don't know which one comes first. And I'm nervous I'm going to list my house. And then what happens if I sell it and I lose 3 multiple offers and I can't buy a new house? I don't know what to do.
Bhavia, I completely understand. And it sounds like there's a lot going on. I'd love to sit down with you over coffee sometime and go over our options. When would be a good time for you where we can just sit down and go over some options?
Okay, Ryan, you are so good. Everybody, you know what Ryan just did? He decided that his call objection was to set that appointment with me. And he just
gave me a lot there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, whatever I said. And he just said, that's why we should meet.
And you might say, I'm not ready to meet. And so I would just lean into, I would say, Via, it sounds like you're interested in possibly selling your home. And often when people sell their home, they need a home to move into. So tell me what's causing you to want to get into something different. What type of home are you looking for?
Are we sitting down now? We're meeting now? Is this us meeting?
No, you told me no. You said, I'm not ready to meet yet, but I know I need to.
Oh, got it. Okay, no. Okay, perfect. Sorry.
I'm getting right?
Yeah, I want to upgrade. Interest rates are really low. I don't want to, I'd rather not remodel my house and do all the stuff. I'd rather just kind of buy a newer house, actually.
Got it. So it sounds like finding something that has some upgrades to it, maybe a little bit different than the home you've got now. What about size, Via? Are you looking for a bigger home, a smaller home?
About compatible, just an upgrade in quality, probably not size.
Okay, so it sounds like just an upgrade in quality, not really changing the size, and we're not changing the location either. Still looking to be in the same area.
I mean, I'd like to maybe move to a nicer neighborhood within the same area.
Got it. Okay. So let me just make sure I got this right, Via. It sounds like you want to get into a new home, and the main goal with the new home is that it's got some nicer finishes than the home you have now, but you'd like to be in a similar location, either in the same community or not far from this community. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And the size of the home that you're looking for would be about the same size as the home that you're looking for now, but mainly just some new upgrades. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
Got it. Okay. Via, if we could help you find that home and we could get you into that home, and we'd have about a week to get your home on the market to make what we call a contingent offer. If we could help you find that home and sell your home in an easy and convenient way throughout your kids being at homeschool, would it be worth us getting together for 15, 20 minutes and coming up with a plan to help you achieve that goal of finding the new home with some nice upgrades and finishes like you're hoping to find?
That was really good. Can we try another one with no contingent offer? Because I don't know a lot of markets who are allowing those right now. So what if we couldn't write contingent?
So one thing that happened lately, Via, I'm curious, is there anywhere else that you could go in the meantime? For example, if we put your home on the market this week and we were able to get it sold, do you have any family members that you could stay with for maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month? Is there anywhere that you could go in the meantime as a temporary plan?
Maybe. I mean, it's not our first choice with 3 kids in homeschool, but yeah, maybe if it was worth it.
The reason I bring that up, Via, is because just last week we were actually able to help a family, and funny enough, they had 3 kids as well. They put 3 or 4 contingent offers in on homes and they got beat out every time. So what we did was I asked them, I actually helped their parents buy a new home last year, and I asked them if they would be okay maybe moving in with their parents for a short-term inconvenience to gain a long-term financial gain. And I think Chris Suarez worded that. I love that. Would you be okay with a short-term inconvenience for a long-term financial gain?
That was really good, Ryan. Yes.
So I'm curious, Via, what if we could get your home on the market and get it sold now, not in a contingent situation? And then once it sells, you could just move in with your parents. I mean, I imagine they would love to have the grandkids live there for a month or 2, right?
I would love to move in with my parents for 2 months with my 3 homeschooled kids. That's amazing.
Exactly. And then your parents can help with the homeschooling. And this worked perfectly last time, Via. And what we did was we put their home on the market for $375. And because we weren't in a contingent situation, we were able to let it sit on the market for a week. They ended up selling for $391. No contingencies. It closed on time. During that time, we found them another home. They actually only had to live with their parents for about 2 weeks. And they got that other home under market value. So we sold their home over list price and we got their new home under list price. It was a total financial gain for just 2 weeks of temporary inconvenience. So I'm curious, if we could do the same for you, should we meet today or tomorrow?
We should meet tomorrow. That sounds great. I love this. All right. You guys are the best. We have 5 more minutes. Jacqueline Smith, pull out your crystal ball. What is winter is coming? What is winter going to look like?
I have no idea. I don't even try to guess. I don't.
That's the right answer.
I don't even try. I just know what's happening now. That's all I know. And you got to weigh the pros and cons of doing it now or if it's next year, and be okay with your decision. Are you okay with worst case scenario of either one? That's the one you should go with.
Yeah. Travis Bard, what do you think?
There's going to be activity in the market. Bottom line. My crystal ball, I turned it over one day and there was a thumb hole and 2 finger holes. I was holding a bowling ball the whole time. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do know there will be transactional activity.
That's right. There always will be. Ryan, what about you?
100%. Steve Hyatt says, I ordered my crystal ball. It just hasn't shown up yet. Nobody knows what the market's going to bring in the future. What I know is that we're planted, right? We're going to keep doing the same activities. We're going to double down. And this prayer came to me yesterday, and it really stood out because of what's going on right now. And maybe some people know the serenity prayer, but it's, God, give me the strength. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So if we can't change things, just move on.
Yeah, that's such a great one.
And know, and have the wisdom to know the difference, right? Have the wisdom to know if we can't control it, don't worry about it. Move on.
You're absolutely right, Ryan. We focus on what we can control and we know now. Here's how I'll end it. I'll end it with my crystal ball because I actually have some thoughts on that. And that is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's going to happen in the winter. We need to act like the market's going to go down. I act like the market's going to go down at the peak of any market. So I have always operated on, with a theory that, I need to make hay while the sun is shining, to use that popular expression. I will follow that up with, I am very, very concerned about a supply side choke. And what I mean by that is I am personally very concerned that we're already so low on inventory in so many key markets. I'm concerned that sellers are going to get even more cautious once winter comes, with kids home from an extended college holidays, with, flu season coming on top of COVID, with, the weather and with everything happening. We already see a dip in inventory. When you look at stats in most major markets, we start seeing that dip in inventory, right around Thanksgiving through like January through, I always say Super Bowl Sunday. My concern is it's going to be even more extreme coupled with an election. So I don't think buyer side is going to diminish it at all. I think the buyers are going to be even more in demand than ever. I do get concerned that we already have a lack of inventory and we're going to have even less, which is why I am literally every Wednesday webinar from here till then is about listings and sellers, because that is what we need. I have scrapped the schedule. Everything we talk about here going out has to do in some level with getting listings and taking listings. And I think that has to start now. Your listings you're going to take in November, December, and January, you have to start working on now. If you listen to these guys, there's a process and a pipeline, and it doesn't typically magically just happen. It usually takes time. So with that said, thank you so much. If you have any referrals whatsoever in the Vancouver, Washington area, call Jacqueline Smith and her team. She's Place Vancouver. If you have any referrals whatsoever in Bellingham, Washington, that is Ryan Greigg and Place Bellingham. Travis Bard in Prescott and Phoenix, that is Place Prescott and Phoenix. Thank you guys so much. And next week, do not miss it, we have Cynthia Freud. Thank you, as always, for coming on our Wednesday webinars, everybody.